You know, you'd be surprised how a nice pair of edible panties can make a guy feel sexy.
Show me.
Although it's nearly impossible to imagine Neo from The Matrix portrayed by anybody other than the immortal, ageless deity known as Keanu Reeves, he was not the Wachowskis' first choice to play the now iconic pale hacker boy. Originally, they wanted Will Smith.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down.
See, in 1996, Will Smith was absolutely crushing it. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was wrapping up a highly successful 6-season run, Independence Day made enough money to build and then explode 15 new White Houses, and Will Smith was just receiving film offers left and right. But sometimes the hardest part of being a film star isn't necessarily the acting or the cigar chewing, it's choosing which movies are worthy of your cigar chomping acting skills. And at this, Will Smith was really struggling. Firstly, Smith tried to turn down Men in Black because he didn't want to be known as the alien guy, and he only agreed to do the film when Steven Spielberg personally called him and essentially demanded Will Smith be in the movie. Because when Steven Spielberg tells you to do something, you do it, even if it's getting eaten by a dinosaur, or eaten by a shark, or eaten by a Vincent D'Onofrio. At the same time, Will Smith was asked by these basically unknown sibling directors, the Wachowskis, to star in an upcoming sci-fi movie they were hoping to get made called Jupiter I'm just kidding, it's The Matrix.
Would you please remove any metallic items you're carrying? Keys, loose change?
Now back up, put the gun down, and give me a pack of tropical fruit bubblicious.
The problem was the Wachowskis freaking sucked at pitching their own movie. Remember, Will Smith was already a little hesitant to do more sci-fi before he agreed to do Men in Black, so presumably he was even more skeptical after accepting that role, and rather than assuage his fears by focusing on the world building or on the story, the Wachowskis spent the majority of the pitch meeting claiming that they were going to invent brand new cameras. And sure, we now know they were talking about creating those amazing bullet time sequences, but at the time, they might as well have been claiming that they could invent a boom mic that will record your inner thoughts once you shove it up your nose. After all, the only movie the Wachowskis had made before this was a lesbian neo-noir crime film called Bound, so it's kind of hard to blame Will Smith for not believing they could leap straight from that to one of the defining sci-fi films of all time. In the end, Will Smith just wasn't sold on this pie frozen in the sky while rotating 360 degrees before speed ramping into the faces of audiences, so instead he did Wild Wild West, which is not only a terrible movie, but also it's still kind of sci-fi, right? I mean, Spider's not real, right? Right? Meanwhile, the Wachowskis freaked out and started asking everybody and their mom if they wanted to wear tight leather and do some kung fu in front of some magic cameras, and they even reached out to Keanu Reeves' one-time co-star Sandra Bullock, and they told her they would rewrite Neo to be a woman if only she'd say yes. And shockingly, this didn't convince her either. Obviously, it all worked out in the end, and though Will Smith somewhat regrets not having been a part of such a classic film, he does believe Keanu Reeves was perfect for the part. He also believes there was a little silver lining here, because according to Smith, if he'd been hired, Morpheus wouldn't have gone to Lawrence Fishburne, the only man in existence who can look cool while wearing a purple tie and nose-clipped sunglasses, because Smith claimed, if I had done it, because I'm black, then Morpheus wouldn't have been black, saying that Hollywood has a one-in, one-out principle when it comes to casting minorities in important roles. Even worse, Smith claims that the studio was eyeing Val Kilmer for the role. Not only is the idea of that guy giving any sort of advice to Will Smith too unbelievable, even for a movie about how we're all flesh batteries for robots and how the 90s were the apex of modern civilization, but Kilmer was also such a terror diva in the late 90s that he probably would have killed both the movies and the Wachowskis' career by insisting that he play Morpheus, while asleep because, the Greek god of dreams, man. So that would have sucked. But at least if Will Smith had signed on, the movie would definitely have ended with a sick credits rap about how machines, man, they're so bad. The humans, dog, they're hella rad, because they have dads. Oh, don't be sad, Agent Smith, be glad. Like a trash bag, like a sight gag.
Only human.
Dodge this.
That's what I call a close encounter.